Ilana Wechsler, founder of greenarrowdigital.com and teachtraffic.com. In this show, Prosper and I talk all about my journey into the world of pay-per-click marketing, its trials and tribulations and pitfalls that you can avoid when launching a Google ad campaign.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show. I'm your host, Prosper Taruvinga, and today I have the absolute pleasure of introducing a powerhouse in the world of pay-per-click, fondly known as PPC advertising, and she's also a data wizard turned marketing expert who is nothing short of an ad traffic alchemist. Now, Ilana, how are you doing today?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Fantastic. You can tell I haven't said PPC in a very long time. I almost got tongue-tied based on the acronym of that. But for those that are meeting Ilana for the very first time, prepare to be amazed. All right. And even if you're just remotely curious why your Google or Facebook ads are burning a hole in your wallet, she's here to shed this some light on that exact issue. A lot of us pay too much money when it comes to ads and have usually nothing to show for it. But this isn't the usual escape the corporate world, find your purpose story. Ilana has actually enjoyed a corporate gig as a data analyst and was thriving, but life had a twist in store. Her journey took a sharp turn with the birth of her first child, sparking the need for balance and, well, newfound love for spreadsheets that extended beyond numbers. And she jumped straight into the magical ways of Google ads. Now, with over 30 million in managed ad spend and clientele spreading across niches that she is going to be letting us know all about, Ilana has a few golden rules and pitfalls that she would like to share with you so that you can create a business that's profitable and enjoyable without having to pay an arm and a leg for it. And we were just talking about this. She's also a surf enthusiast, and I was telling her about my not so great fond of the ocean, even though Australia is a big island. So I better learn a thing or two if I am to enjoy my stay around her. So not only is she balancing ad accounts, she's also balancing, the waves there, which actually reflects her grounded approach to the work that she does in, pay-per-click advertising, which is steady, mindful, and powerful. So I want you to stick with us till the end and just get ready to gain insights that might actually turn your ad campaigns into profit generating machines. Now, Ilana, I could go on and talk about things I'm not even qualified to talk about. Your story begins, in the corporate world as a data analyst. Tell us what that world was like, before you decided to get started on your own.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's funny, you look back and I never would have dreamed I would be sitting here talking to you if I was back in the corporate world, because I'm, as you said in your intro, I'm not your usual story of someone who hated their job and had dreams of becoming an entrepreneur. On the contrary, actually, I really enjoyed my job. As you said, I used to work as a data analyst in the finance world. I worked for some of the biggest names in the corporate world, Goldman Sachs and PIMCO and contrary to, yeah, so I worked with really smart people. My role was interesting and dynamic. And yeah, I had no intention actually of leaving my corporate life at all. But as you mentioned, my life took a bit of a turn when I had my first child. I actually had a a pretty serious complication in the very, very late stages of my pregnancy. And when something like that happens, you reevaluate life very, very quickly. And so I had my child, and fortunately, everything was fine. We were both very, very lucky. Medical doctors said that we came very close to it not being okay. And I obviously then, as I said, I reevaluated life. And my son used to be awake from 7 in the morning to 7 at night, like most babies. And I thought, hang on a minute, I used to work from 7 to 7. When exactly am I going to see him? Because I was on maternity leave. And I didn't just want to see him on the weekend. So I went to my job when it was time for me to go back to work. And I said to them, look, I'd really love to work part-time because I don't want to leave him, or can I work from home? And, this is going back, he's almost 16 now. So 16 years ago, this is obviously the workforce has changed now and many people work from home now, but it just wasn't the done thing 16 years ago. So they said, listen, no, you can't work from home, number one. And number two, we will allow you to come back part-time, but whilst you are in a part-time position, your role won't change. Basically, you're effectively pressing pause on your career till you come back full-time, and then you can progress. And I just thought, well, what's the point? Like, my job won't change. I'm effectively pressing pause, and I probably will have another child. And so I didn't really see myself wanting to go back full time for a really long time. And so I made the difficult and also easy decision to leave. I mean, it was difficult because I enjoyed my job, but it was easy because it was a no-brainer to choose my son over everything, really. And so I left, and it was not easy, and I had absolutely no idea what I was going to do, because I was not somebody who was dreaming of something else. And so began a really long, and I mean, and just, I guess, a difficult journey of finding what I was going to do. But I'm the kind of person that enjoys the journey, and I I tried so many things, and it's just funny when I look back on it now. And I tell people who come to me just for questions of like, oh, how did I get started? Or I've got no idea what I want to do. And, a long-time mentor said to me, which really what I did is like, you can't steer a parked car. So you just got to do something, even though it might be the wrong thing. You just got to do something, you got to move so that you can then learn from that and go, well, what did I enjoy about that? And what didn't I enjoy about this? So when I started, I just thought, look, what are my skills? So I thought, got really good Microsoft Excel skills. It sounds really nerdy, but I used to build really, really complex spreadsheets in my job with, linking them to databases. I mean, that was my background, IT and finance. So I thought, well, I mean, surely other businesses need this done. Like, why can't I do this from home? So I put an ad on what is Australia's equivalent of Craigslist in the US. It's called Gumtree. And I thought, well, I'm just going to try and see if I can get anyone who needs my Excel skills. So I created it, and it's free to do. I put a job posting on, as I said, the Australian equivalent of Craigslist, which is Gumtree. And to my surprise, people responded to it, and I actually got some work out of it. And I got a few people, so I thought, oh, and I used to do this when my son was sleeping from home, and I had no overheads, so it was easy. And so then I thought, oh, I think I'm onto something here. So I thought, well, maybe I should build a website. So I that started its own process, because I really was not a web person at all. So I bought the domain name excelhelp.com.au. I've since let that go, but that's where I started. And then I taught myself how to build a website. Did have a programming background, so it wasn't too arduous for me to do that. And I built a very, very rudimentary website. And to my surprise, this is my naivety, I thought, build it and they will come. Well, in actual fact, build it and no, they don't come. And So I said to a friend of mine, I built this website, like no one's coming. And, they're like, oh, look, maybe you got to ring some agencies. I'm like, oh, okay. So there are people that do this for people. Okay. So then I start ringing, researching, finding some agencies, and they start giving me quotes. And I'm like, hang on a minute. I got to do this agency work. Screw this Excel work. There's something in this. And that actually was how I started on my online journey.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for sharing that journey in and of itself. And you're absolutely right. So many people would come to you and say, "What's the one thing? What's the one thing that I can do?" And you had to obviously, like in this case, kiss as many frogs as you could in order for you to find your actual thing. And speaking of kissing frogs, it's somewhat of a fairy tale. Now, as kids are growing up and as people are growing up, we always have this aspiration or hope that I will become something. Was finance and spreadsheets part of, yay, mom, at 7, this is what I'm going to do? Type a wish that you would have had as a little girl.
I used to want to be a vet when I was a little girl. Um, yeah, true story. I did used to want to be a vet, but then that didn't end up happening. So I was always quite technical. So I did computing at university. I became a programmer for a while, but I was a terrible programmer. Oh, I was badly placed in that. And I always had an interest in financial markets. I found them fascinating. Don't really know why. So then I thought I'd combine IT and finance. So yeah, that's kind of how I landed in the world of finance. But in the data analytical world, like what I enjoyed about it is that I didn't do the same thing every day. I did different stuff every day, and I was more like the person behind uh, the account manager. So anytime a client had to ask for something, some kind of data about their portfolio, I had to create and work all that out, attribution models, etc. So it was very dynamic, and I really enjoyed it, actually.
Absolutely, because data is actually a form of, first of all, a language and a form of
Mm,
telling a story. Because if you combine that data, those numbers, they, if presented well, would be able to help people formulate and make decisions and things of that nature. So in and of itself, I can see, the actual relevance in why and what you were doing prior to what it is that you're doing now. But let's just maybe, go into part of your journey here. And, obviously the significant personal event, which was the birth of your first child, just maybe
mm.
started to redirect your life. But I want to know how you would have felt, because obviously you would have given your life to this career, to this job and everything else, learning, because you just don't wake up one day and you're really good at spreadsheets. You know what I mean? What was the initial sort of sentiment around them telling you, sorry, this, if you, it's either this or that, and you had to choose your son,
Mm.
moving forward?
Look, I think obviously it was very hard to hear that. I had a very good relationship with my boss, actually. Not the big boss, my immediate boss or manager. And I think actually he was looking out for me. And don't actually think he was meant to say that, but we had a really good relationship, working relationship. And I think I'm very grateful that he was honest with me, because they could have strung me along to some degree and said, yeah, um, you know, you can kind of work part-time, and apply pressure to come back full-time, and not really being honest with me that my role will never change. So whilst it was hard to hear initially, it really became a no-brainer decision to leave. And it's kind of what I needed to hear. So yeah, I mean, it was not easy, and I don't think at the time I thought this is it forever. This is it for now, and maybe I'll go back later in it, maybe a different job that I can work part time. But I very quickly kind of, it's one of those things that you don't really know what it's like till it's gone, and then suddenly you turn the corner and it's actually really good around the corner. And you think, hang on a minute, I was happy, but hey, I'm way happier now, you know? And so yeah, I'm really grateful that they were honest with me of the real lay of the land. And whilst they probably could have got in trouble for that, because it probably was against the law to say something like that. Maybe not now, but or back then, I I genuinely think he was kind of doing the right thing by me, and yeah, like absolutely no zero regrets, obviously, because life is just infinitely better.
Absolutely.
Um, so
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I mean, you've recently become a dolphin trainer, for all I know, just casually sighting dolphins, on a normal day, and you're like, hey, how you going? And Flipper
It's just how
just
we roll, right?
absolutely. So you then embarked on a journey which I viscerally
Mm,
believe, when certain events or things happen, they're not happening to us, they're happening for us. And as you are
mm,
sort of hinting towards that, this now became a blessing in disguise because you now embarked on a path which now led you to the work and life that you're leading today. And when you started, you didn't even start with ads, as you said. You started off posting on
I didn't know
Gumtree.
there was online advertising. I literally did not even know it existed.
Wow. Yeah.
I know, it's pretty amazing.
And your journey coming in from Gumtree, I bet today if you would post and say I'll help you with spreadsheets, you'll have a lot of perverts, misconstruing the word spreadsheet for something else that obviously is not family friendly. But I can only
Yes.
attest, a lot of people have somewhat of a journey. So when you got that light bulb moment that, wait a minute, agency is
Mm.
actually better than me trying to do spreadsheets and things of that nature, there's certain things that you see but might not know how to get about it. What was the learning curve for you to actually then lend onto the PPC journey, because that's totally different to what you were doing before.
Yeah, God, I went nowhere for 4 years. And but it's also I was a full-time mum as well. So it wasn't like I was spending all day, all night sort of going nowhere. It was within the hours of that I wasn't with my child. But I actually became obsessed with finding a way that I could work for myself from home online. And so what happened was um, I had a friend in the US who was working online. So I reached out to him and I said, "What do you actually? I want to do something online. What do you do?" And he's like, I think what did he say? He said, I do affiliate marketing." I'm like, "What's affiliate marketing?" Right? And he's like, "Well, I sell other people's products for a commission." And I said, "Oh, I'd love to sell online, but I've got nothing to sell, like at this point." And he said, "That's okay. You can do what I'm doing, which is selling other people's products." So he had a website, which was like a blog critiquing running watches. Okay. And he would, I know this now, but back then I had no idea. But it was essentially an SEO strategy, ranking in Google for critiquing and reviewing these running watches. And he had affiliate links to Amazon for these running watches. And the way the Amazon affiliate program works is you get, I think it's 4% of whatever somebody buys within a 24-hour period of them clicking on the cookie. So they don't have to buy the running watch. They click on the link to go to Amazon, maybe look at that running watch, and then they buy something else, and you can get a commission of that. So I thought, oh, okay, I can do this. So I thought of my own little niche, and I thought, what do I like? I like coffee. So I built a coffee blog, and it was terrible. I mean, let me tell you, it was absolutely terrible. And I wrote all these blogs diligently. I researched all these coffee machines and everything, and I wrote all the. I literally didn't make $1. Not $1. And I tried for a while. I had my poor husband I recorded him creating a coffee for YouTube because YouTube was. I actually since found his video about 10 years later. It was so funny. Anyway, that's a side story. And so then that went nowhere. I thought, oh, okay, that's a dead end. What am I going to do now? And I read a blog, someone saying that you should. There's a website called Flipper. Have you heard of Flipper? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So for your listeners who don't know, Flipper is a website for people who are looking to buy or sell their online businesses, right? Think of it like a marketplace. And so someone said that you should go to Flipper and look at all the listings to analyze all the different business models out there. I thought, that's a genius idea. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So I spent hours trawling through all the Flipper listings, and I stumbled on this one listing of somebody who sold their website for 80,000 US dollars. And it was a content site. It wasn't selling anything. It's a content site. Yeah, and they essentially had Google Ads on there. So their main monetization method was Google AdSense. And they used to make $5,000 a month from Google Ads. And I just thought to myself, that's my ticket. If I can make $5,000 a month and then obviously not have to pay for childcare, then that's actually all I need. Then I'm good, you know. And this guy was selling a report for how he did it. It's called his recipe book, whatever, something recipe book. So for $100. So I bought this report. And essentially, knowing what I know now, it was an SEO, a long tail SEO ranking strategy. But this is back 10 years ago. You know,
Wow.
what works with SEO now is not what worked back then, right? So, and he had, on day one, this is what you do, on day two, and a whole step-by-step process. And so I did this, and I created a website, again, another in a different niche, high CPC niche, so that the clicks that you earn are high value. And I followed this recipe book to the letter. I mean, if he would have said, on this day, jump on one leg and pat your head, like I would have done it. Like I literally, yeah, like I didn't question anything. I would have done it. Anyway, I did this and it worked, actually. I built a website. The most I ever got it to was about $2,000 a month for that one website. And I thought, I'm onto something here. So then I just replicated it. I created another one in the same niche. I created my own competition. And I rolled this thing out, and I had people writing for me because it was working. And I was at home with my son. And I was, yeah, he used to sleep for 3 hours in the middle of the day, so I could do all my work then. And then I was like, those awful make money online tales that they say make money while you sleep, but you work hard during the day so that you make money while you sleep. All my websites were targeting the United States, and being in Australia, I did actually make money while I slept. Until one day I woke up one morning and I did what I normally do. First thing in the morning, I checked my earnings and I had made zero earnings. And I just thought, ooh, in my Google AdSense account. And I just thought, something has happened. Either my website is down, which I hope that's why, because that would explain, and that's an easy fix, or I've been hit with some kind of algorithm SEO update. And lo and behold, it was the latter. And I was hit by the panda penguin. Remember, I don't know how long
Ooh.
you've been on. Yeah. And literally overnight, my whole business kind of came crashing down. And I learned a really, really valuable lesson. I mean, first of all, I was just grateful that I didn't start an SEO agency back then, because I just thought, oh my God, I would not want to be taking a phone call from somebody right now with my own website. That I could wear that myself. And yeah, so then it kind of just thought I actually have to build a bit more of a robust business that is not at the mercy of the Google algorithms, and something that's a bit more foundational. And so I decided to become friends with Google rather than enemies with Google, and fight the SEO game. And so flip the equation and then discovered Google Ads, obviously, because I was familiar with Google AdSense, being the recipient of somebody placing the Google ad. And yeah, so I taught myself Google Ads. I was also part of an online community, and I could see people saying, "Oh, I need help with Google Ads." And everyone would say, "Oh, go talk to this person." Go, and I'm like, "What is this Google Ads business?" And so then I thought, because there's obviously a big need for it. And so yeah, that was about 4 years worth compressed. And then I started learning Google Ads, and I fell in love with it instantly. I just thought, this is my data home. Wow, what has taken me so long? I just literally didn't know it existed.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for taking us on this journey. And yeah, Ilana, I think it's not your fault you failed in the coffee business. I mean, leave coffee to people in Melbourne. Okay. You Sydney people would not have a
What do
clue.
we know, right?
But I can only, yeah, no, hats off to you for trying, because this is a long, winding road to finding the thing. And in the process, if you really look at all the things that you were doing, it's just like a tree growing. Each
Mm,
thing that you
mm,
did is that ring that really signifies the time in the market, the time in the tribes to actually learn and understand. Because as you would have noticed, making $2,000, in income took a lot of learning, a lot of step by step and things of that nature. Yet other people think it's instant like that.
yeah.
Even instant coffee takes 5 minutes to brew. I don't know if you sort of knew that, considering you were not really good with the coffee, outputs and fantastic. So yeah, now that you've jumped on, but you did introduce a character in your story here, your husband. I'm supposing he supportive throughout all these experiments, or because some people, if they don't quite understand what you're doing, you only get a couple of days, and yeah, that's it.
He's incredibly supportive. I mean, I laugh at the poor guy with all my harebrained ventures. He's 100% behind me the whole way. So yeah, you can't do it without the support of a partner. And I mean, if I think about the number of hours, especially in the early days, that I have spent learning and trying, and he really picked up a lot of the slack, especially with the kids. And I mean, we've got 3 kids now, so there's we have a busy house, and so therefore he's been incredibly supportive, so which is
Ah,
great.
absolutely, absolutely, and hats off. Especially when you find yourself somebody who's equally supportive to help you on your journey. So, with all this learning curve, I mean, obviously, if it took you, a data expert, a finance person, to learn all these things, figure it out, having to go to Flipper, looking at business models and things like that, how is Sally, who just wants to sell her candles, going to be able to really manage to go past this? And as you said, there's always that algorithm hit, and usually that learning curve is actually a text to Google, because they pry on a lot of people who don't quite know how to monetize. Because when you start with the ads, usually they give you suggestions or whatever it is, but if you really look at those suggestions, they're designed to make Google money, not the other way around. I don't know, you could maybe let us know, because you're the expert in this.
Oh yeah, I even created a guide on this called my Google Gotcha Guide with all the gotchas that Google have embedded in their ad platform, all their recommended settings. It's really wrong, and I don't know why they do it, but because I mean, it just feels like bad business. Like if people got a good result out of their Google ads, they would keep doing it. But I can't tell you how many people I have spoken to who have just had their credit card melted just from one little default setting that was automatically ticked that they didn't deselect, which dramatically changes the reach of their ads. So, it got to a point where, I could literally ask someone, did you set up your Google ads yourself with either no help from somebody who knows or no course? And if they answered yes, I actually don't even need to look at their account. I know exactly what they've done. because everyone falls for it. And I would too, by the way. Like if I didn't know any better, I absolutely would fall for these traps. So I don't blame people. I expect it. So it's sadly a bit of a maze. But what I have learned is it's not rocket science. You just need the proper guidance and the proper understanding, big picture, particularly of the Google ad platform, to then formulate a strategy that you think would be applicable to get in front of just your target audience, not everyone, and implement it in the safe way.
Absolutely. And when you were mentioning that whole, did you set these ads up yourself? It just reminded me of the trauma at the airport where they ask you, did you pack these bags by yourself? Because so you can only imagine somebody is coming to you with a melted credit card, maybe 30,000 has just gone out on a day,
Terrible.
and you're asking them, did you set them up on yourself? So literally they no longer have anyone to blame when that happens. But obviously that comes with a lot of learning. Like you said, it took you about 4 years and constant learning. Algorithms are changing and things of that nature. And now your agency is managing over 30 million in ad spend. And obviously that's not an easy place to get to, especially when you know that people's livelihoods depend on the outcome of what it is that you're doing. Besides, falling for the Google traps or the what they call the EDO tax or things like that, what else are people doing wrong when it comes to their ads?
Firstly, I just want to correct you. My agency is not currently spending $30 million in ad spend. It has in the past. My agency is smaller now because of my other business, which is the teaching platform. But
Right.
I didn't want to, uh, what's the word? Yeah, I just wanted clarity there. What are people doing wrong? So essentially, now currently, Google Google's definitely going towards AI and what they used to call their smart campaigns or their fully automated campaigns. What Google wants is they want you to basically give them a budget and your website, and they go away and find you customers. You have no control. You don't choose really anything. The Google gods magically find you customers that are profitable. The reality is that sounds too good to be true because it is. And so these types of campaigns are called performance max campaigns. Google are pushing them hard. I get calls from Google reps almost every day trying to convince me to put our clients into performance max campaigns. And the truth is, they're for some people, but they're not for everyone. So the type of business that would be perfect for a performance max campaign would be a pretty large e-commerce store that has a decent budget, that has maybe 500 SKUs, each individual products, right? Because a performance max campaign essentially sprays your ads across the entire Google ad ecosystem. And that includes Google Shopping, e-commerce, search, display, YouTube, Gmail, and discovery. Now, that's all fine and well for a very large e-commerce store with a large budget. But if you're a local dentist, right, you don't really need your ads to be on the Sydney Morning Herald or The Age. You don't need a YouTube ad. You just need a little text ad to come up in your vicinity of your practice when somebody types dentist Melbourne or dentist whatever suburb or dentist near me. Like that is all you need. You don't need to spend a lot of money. And so that's the problem, is this one size fits all campaign type is really a one size fits no one, you know? So that's sort of the classic mistake that people make. When you go to create your campaign, a lot of the default settings are set up in such a way that for these fully automated campaigns.
Absolutely, because I mean, obviously, the way it's like, what you see is what you get type set up in there just makes somebody feel like they're in control of what's actually happening, whereas Google is just really lowering you. And then once you're in the sandbox, they're just gonna be looking for more and more ways to siphon money off of you and things of that nature. So that's the reason why it's much more important to work with people that are experts in this particular range. So your clients range from, legal firms and, like you're saying, really large e-commerce businesses, and maybe just an online guitar instructor who is like local and can take maybe one or two clients a day, because, so you wouldn't need that much of a
Mm.
big exposure and things, like that. How can people get started? First of all, maybe just learning how they can work with you, or maybe engage you as their agency for their ads to work with.
Yeah, so about 6 years ago, so when I first started in the Google ad space, I launched an agency called greenarrowdigital.com. And then I'd started it and I thought, I'll do this for 3 to 5 years. And then before I knew it, I was, 10 years in, and I just thought, oh, hang on a minute, this wasn't part of the plan. So I decided to actually sold half my agency and launched a second business, which is as per my t-shirt, called Teach Traffic, which is an online teaching platform, teaching people how to run traffic campaigns so that they don't need an agency. The reason I didn't sell my entire agency is because I felt ethically I couldn't teach if I didn't still do somewhat. So currently my agency, we cap it at about 15 clients just because I'm not trying to grow an agency. And I make sure we have a full range of different types of clients, from local businesses, I have a lot of dentists actually, to e-commerce stores, to information products, and yeah, all like medical clinics in the States, that kind of stuff. And then, as I said, my main business is Teach Traffic, that and the community there, because I really feel genuinely that most businesses, particularly local businesses, like they don't need an agency to run just a handful of really good, solid campaigns. They just need to know how to set it up the right way, which changes to pay attention to, which data to focus on. There's a whole lot of data that you can just ignore. It's not relevant. And once you build them up, they kind of hum along really nicely, like almost on autopilot. Not completely, but it gets into maintenance mode. And yeah, so that's what I really help people with inside teachtraffic.com, is helping them so that really the money they're spending is, on the ads rather than the agency, because any decent agency is going to charge a decent amount of money because there's a huge demand for some people who know what they're doing. And for a local dentist, half your budget going to an agency just seems absolutely crazy to me. So that's really my focus now.
Absolutely. And if people are to go around the internet, where would they need to go to find you and maybe get started?
Best place is teachtraffic.com. You can also check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/teachtraffic, all one word. Or you can check out my agency at greenarrowdigital.com.
Absolutely. I'll make sure that all those links are in the show notes below so that people can actually jump on. And I really do concur with you. I mean, some of the things we know, if you're a small business, you know your business a lot more than an agency would. And you would know exactly what the people are searching for and what they tell you on the phone that you can actually use within ads. And usually, when it comes to sort of an agency, they just would do enough, but they wouldn't fight for the survival of your own business. So I think you're absolutely right. And I just feel like people are afraid of making a mistake. So, having an agency is just
And fair
having
enough.
someone that they can blame if things don't work. Because can you imagine if they then show up to you, Ilana, and say, "Did you fix these ads yourself?" And they're looking at a $30,000 shortfall. It's a very painful place to be, to have to point a finger at yourself. So I guess people just look for agencies so that they can find somebody to blame.
And look, that's fine. I mean, there's agencies have their place in the world as well. Don't get me wrong. And some people just simply don't have the time to manage their ad accounts. Totally get that as well. So yeah, as I said, I still have my agency. I still have some clients that I've had for literally over 10 years. We just uh, do what we do, and client does what they do, and everybody's happy. So yeah, agencies have their place in the world, but I think this misconception that people cannot learn is also incorrect.
Absolutely. Now, you've recently taken up surfing, or that's been always in the making, and that was the first thing that really fascinated me because if you gonna go out surfing, you just don't rock up the beach and be like, oh, wait, let me just start surfing. You plan ahead, so that means there's a lot of time. Everything is in order, things of that nature. Would that have happened had you continued being the financial data spreadsheet person at Goldman Sachs?
Absolutely not. And I only picked up surfing in since COVID, actually, and it was only because, well, my husband has enjoyed surfing for a long time, but my we were homeschooling our children because of the lockdowns, and my son, my eldest, the one that precipitated this journey, was having a really difficult time being at home, and fair enough, the kids really struggled. So the local beach was within our 5 kilometer radius because we were not allowed to travel more than 5 kilometers. So literally every day, I just said to him, "Come on, we're going to the beach. We're going to the beach. Like we need to get out. We need to see the horizon, see some water." And so we literally went rain, hail, or shine to the beach every single day. And I bought everyone wetsuits because it was winter. And it would end up being quite fortuitous because I just would play around in the water on a surfboard, and sort of fell in love with it. But and yeah, my work is very flexible. I don't really have well, not all the time. Sometimes set hours. So yeah, I can go surfing at what I've called ladies' hour, which is 9:30 in the morning when there's certain like times of the day. So like 6:30 in the morning, it's peak hour. Let me tell you, like you don't want to get in the water at 6:30 in the morning because it is absolutely packed. And then by 8 o'clock, all those people have gone to work. And then you've kind of got the next wave of people. And then by 9:30, everyone's at work. It's ladies' hour. So that's the best time.
Absolutely. You figured it out, just like, the best time to send out an ad and the best time to to, put out a campaign and things like that. It's all data, right?
Exactly.
At the end of the day. But yeah, I can't thank you enough for the time that we've spent on the call today, with all the work that you have done to put and you've put together, your teach
Teach
platform
traffic.
and membership, which people can now join and things like that. But for our sort of listeners that are obviously interested, like you said, you can go at it by yourself, but obviously are intimidated by that complexity and they don't want to be the person to be blamed. What's maybe one actionable step that they could actually take today to improve their campaigns?
What's an actionable, like as in their
Yeah.
campaigns that they're actually running?
Yeah, if you could just say something that is usually universal, that, hey, if you maybe add a little bit of patience in your campaign, or, just something that would just, show them they're on the right track.
Probably the biggest piece of advice I could give someone is to make sure that they structure their ad accounts the right way. Success with advertising online is all about matching the right ad to the right person, ad relevance. And the classic mistake that people make is that they throw all their keywords. So let's take a dental practice as an example. They might have like one campaign and then one ad group and then all the keywords they want to target in that one ad group, be it implants, veneers, cosmetic, all that kind of stuff. The problem is that only one ad is going to be shown for all those keywords. So you need to structure your campaign in such a way that the right ad is shown for what somebody types into Google. So if somebody types in, veneers dentist near me, your ad talks about veneers. If somebody else types in implants, that matches that search term. And it's just a mistake that lots of people make, is that they don't structure their campaigns to force Google to have strong ad relevance. And it means that your ads don't work very well. It means that your account gets bad quality score, which means you pay more cost per click. And often, we've renovated ad accounts before with implementing the right structure, and we've managed to really reduce their cost per click purely by enabling good ad relevance.
Absolutely. And I think that's very vital because, if you just spray and pray, you definitely won't be
Yeah,
able to get the right kind of people with the right kind of pain that would make sure that your business becomes profitable and enjoyable. Now, Ilana, I can't thank you enough for the time that, we
thank you
spent on
so
the call.
much.
I mean, if you didn't have a roadmap for your TPC before. For those that are watching right now, I'm sure you have one now. And thanks to Alana for peeling back the curtain on Google and all the ads that you can use and all those practical gems that she has shared. I will definitely put the links to your platform so that people can follow that journey and maybe learn a little bit more for you. For those that are watching right now, if you feel like you're adrift in the world of PPC campaigns, I hope this episode has just maybe given you some clarity and direction. And as Ilana says, it does take a while to learn these things. So don't anticipate that if you just started yesterday, you'd have a full grasp of everything that needs to happen behind the scenes. And if you found value here, I actually do encourage that you also share this episode with somebody who needs, to be rescued, especially when their ads are not working for them. And while you're at it, I encourage you to also subscribe to the Online Prosperity Show for more insightful content like this. Until next time, go turn those clicks into profit. Bye for now.